Animation Principles in Multimedia Learning by Stephanie Johnson. Principles of Animation, Cambridge Handbook of Multimedia Learning. Functions of animation. There are two basic functions, representing function and directing function. Representing function refers to the display of spatial and temporal structure of objects and events. The directing function involves guiding the learner's visual attention to the task. Relevant features of the display are and information. Principle 1. People learn better from an animation when the instructional purpose of the animation has been clearly defined. So in this example, displaying these exercises are better explained than using static pictures of the same movements. Principle 2. People learn better from an animation when appropriate emphasis is given to spatial versus temporal information. Perception and cognition play a crucial role in the recognition of movement. We cannot see growing plants unless it is sped up in an animation, or like the lizard eating a bug is slowed down so we can process this within the range of the human eye. Principle 3. People learn better from an animation when perceptual attributes and cognitive requirements are closely aligned. In this example, she demonstrates the use and uses verbal instruction to guide the learner through the exercise.
Over your wrists and that your knees are right underneath your hips. And we'll first just talk about the whole anatomy of the pose, and then we'll talk about different ways that you can use your feet to aid in this process. So,
Principle 4. People learn better from an animation when perceptual processing and cognitive processing are appropriately supported. Interactive learning using visual as well as support materials. In this example, a video as well as a step-by-step visuals are used to support it. Principle 5. People learn better from an animation when interaction opportunities accord with aims and learner's expertise. In this example, the user is familiar with Minecraft and is considered an expert user.
Slabs into this corner.
Deriving instructional design principles from multimedia presentation with animation. Study by Moreno and Mayer. Combining verbal and nonverbal presentation. Our example is the Lego plane that we saw in our previous slide. Role of modality. When students are presented with one modality of instruction, they have less of an advantage to those who have had more than one, such as having audio and visual instruction. The role of spatial continuity. This study shows that its results that students who had animation, narration written on the screen, and the narration itself did better than those with these elements separated. The role of temporal continuity. This part of the study showed that simultaneously auditory and visual presentations were superior to successive auditory and visual presentations. The next study that I will present is Understanding Disney's 12 Principles of Animation, but I've only done an excerpt of it, and this study was done by Tammy Coran. Staging. Staging is used to guide the viewer's eye to what is important within the scene. Follow through and overlapping action. Follow-through is the objects that are at a standstill after being in motion. Parts will stop at different rates. Secondary action are actions used to support the main action and helps add dimension to the viewer. Timing. Natural laws of physics apply to what we see in the natural world. If an object moves faster or slower than it would naturally move, it is not believable. Appeal. Viewer needs to be able to relate and have a relationship with what they see in the animation. Staging. This short video is an excellent example and explanation of staging.
A clear silhouette also helps in communicating the pose and thus making the action unmistakably clear, as compared to the example on the right where the silhouette isn't clear. So,
the next study I reviewed were principles for using animation in computer-based instruction, theoretical heuristics for effective design, studied by Renee Weiss, David Skolton, and Gary R. Morrison. Nature of animation. In this study, the nature of animation is best described by examining the characteristics and purposes. It is related to static visuals and has purposes and third physical attributes. Nature of the subject matter. The subject matter of the animation needs to be clear and have a direct impact on the way the lesson is designed and presented. This will base on the study and others that learners have better learning outcomes with it than without it.